The teaser opens with wreckage of a boat that has clearly been demolished, and you see Mulder floating in a dead man's float right before the credits, and you're like, holy crap. Well, they freak you out real good before the credits even happen, so you know it's going to be a good one. After the credits, some soldiers, British soldiers, pull Mulder up out of the water, and they're accusing him of being German. He's like, what the heck? Okay. They take him in to see the captain, and the captain starts like slapping him around and saying, you know, where are you from? Who are you working for? And he's like, wait, this is the Queen Anne, right? And the captain says, yeah. And Mulder says, I came looking for this ship. I bet I know why you're in this pickle. It is because you are stuck in the Bermuda Triangle. Just then, some soldiers come in and tell the captain that the Germans have taken control of the bridge of the ship. And the captain's like, oh shit, I got more things to deal with than this right now. I'm gonna go deal with this. You go lock up this crazy guy. He goes into the ballroom and he sees Scully, or someone who looks like Scully. She's not acknowledging him as if she is Scully or has even seen him before. And so they drag Mulder away into the bridge of the ship, where he sees the captain arguing with a Nazi. This Nazi guy takes out a gun and shoots him in the head. The guy who shot the captain turns around, and sure enough, it's the 1939 version of the cigarette smoking man. Of course. Who else would it be? Anyway, he turns around, he starts questioning Mulder, and they pull out a gun to shoot Mulder. Just then, he hears this guy shouting not to shoot him from across the room, or at least that's what he assumes. He's shouting in German. He comes in, and it's Skinner. They drag him off, and he's yelling, Skinner, Skinner, help me, Skinner, and Skinner is doing nothing. Skinner's in a Nazi uniform. It's all very confusing. The next scene you see is Scully in the bullpen at the Hoover building at work, and the lone gunmen come in. Turns out the lone gunmen were messing around with satellites the night before, and they see the Queen Anne come into a satellite picture. Unwisely, as the gunmen are prone to do, they tell Mulder what's happening, and Mulder, as he is prone to do, goes off half-cocked. The lone gunmen were tracking him on a satellite, but then a storm blew in, obscured the transmission from the satellite that they were hacking, and now they can't find him. So they need somebody at the Pentagon to get them a specific kind of imaging from a Navy intelligence satellite. And she says, okay, I'll try to get it, wait for me downstairs. She basically breaks her way into Skinner's office, and he's like, I'm really not allowed to be talking to you right now, Scully. How about you get out of here? And she's like, no, I need some help with this. She tries to, get a little tood with him and go out the door. And he puts his hand on the door and stops her from leaving, and he says, use your head, Scully. It'll save your ass. And then she delivers one of my favorite Scully lines of all time. She looks at him with this venomous look in her eye and says, save your own ass, sir. You'll save your head along with it. I love it. She's so feisty. Anyway, next she goes to Assistant Director Kirsch. She's still got this piece of paper that has the coordinates on it that she needs. She goes and she starts talking to Kirsch. She's like, I need this. I can't say why, but it's really important. And then she takes a deep breath. She smells something, literally, turns around, and guess who's there? Cigarette smoking dude. And she's like, actually, it's nothing. Just kidding, guys. I'm really sorry that I came in like this. I'm just gonna go. And they're like, no, we need to see that paper. And she's like, no, you don't. It's fine. And they say, yeah, we need the paper. And she's like, oh, okay, all right, bye. And she leaves. She's like, shit. She goes down to the basement. I'm just gonna do the entire scene for you because I like this scene. She says, I need you to do me a favor. It's not negotiable. Either you do it or I kill you, you understand? Oh, I'm not. I'm a gun ready to go off, so don't test me, Spender. Don't even think about trying to weasel me. Don't ask too many questions. I don't care what you do or who you have to grease. I need that information and I need it now. Are we clear on that? If you're not back in 10 minutes, I'm gonna hunt you down and so help me God. Assistant Director Kirsch's secretary comes in, and she's like, I'm waiting on Agent Spender. I'm supposed to pick up a delivery from him. The know-it-all little bitch from upstairs is all like, actually, Agent Spender is with Assistant Director Kirsch. And she's like, that rat bastard. She runs past the secretary, gets on the elevator again. Her phone rings, her cell phone rings. She's like, hey, Mulder, is that you? And she can't hear it. It's a guy on the phone, but it's really kind of muffled. And the door opens and it's Skinner, and he's on his cell phone. She's like, is that you? He was like, yeah, is that you? And she's like, yeah. He says, I got the information for you. Just as the door closes, and she's like, oh! She gets so excited, she kisses him full on the mouth. And he's like, okay, that's great. And then the door opens, they're at the same floor again, and he starts to yell at her, and he's like, if you ever ask me to break protocol again, I'll have you written up, wrapped up, and tossed out of the FBI. Are we clear on that, Agent Scully? She's like, yeah. So she gets back in the elevator, she goes downstairs. The lone gunman speed up in this VW bus. She gets in the back of it, she jumps in it, and they shut the doors, they're rolling out of the parking lot. Next thing you know, Mulder is being taken and imprisoned in the engine room of the ship along with the rest of the English crew. And they say, look, we're not carrying weapons. I don't know what's going on. He's like, they keep on saying this word, Thor's hammer, Thor's hammer. And Mulder's like, Thor's hammer is not a weapon, it's a guy who will build the bomb that will win the war. So one of the British soldiers knocks on the door and is all like speaking German to the guys and telling him what Mulder just said. And everybody gets really pissed at Mulder and is like, look, he's a spy, you idiot. They take Mulder out to the ballroom and they're asking him, which guy's the scientist? Which one's the scientist? Which one's the scientist? He's like, I don't know. They're like, wrong answer. So they just randomly take a guy and shoot him in the head. Scully comes forward then and she says, I'm the scientist. And then this guy, the one she was dancing with earlier, comes out and says, no, I'm the scientist. She's protecting me. She was sent to protect me. Just then, everything kind of goes quiet in the ballroom and you realize that you can't hear the engine anymore. And then, everybody that was locked downstairs in the engine room comes on out. And they start, this great big ballroom brawl with all the Germans. And Mulder and the 1939 version of Scully are running through the ship trying to elude the Nazis. At one point, a Nazi comes back behind them and says, put your hands up, and they think they're about to get shot. Things don't look too good, so they're standing there like this. And then they hear a shot, and they go, ah! And nothing's happened, no one has died, and they turn around, and it's Skinner, who is a mole working for the Nazis, and he said, God bless America, and now get your asses out of here. Oh, Skinner. So they keep running, they go out onto the deck, and he says, look, here's what you have to do. You have to turn the ship around, make sure it goes back into the Bermuda Triangle. It has to remain lost, otherwise the entire course of history will be altered. And she's like, are you crazy? And then he says, and in case we never meet again. And he pulls her to him and he kisses her. He kisses her long, well, relatively long, for 8 seconds. I squee the entire time for 8 seconds, and then I run the DVD back and I squee again while I watch them kiss for another 8 seconds, and I repeat as necessary. He comes out of the kiss and she decks him right in the face. Scully, she's so feisty. And he goes and he jumps over the side of the boat, and Scully's like, ah! And she throws an inner tube in after him. The next scene, Mulder wakes up in a hospital room, as he is wont to do at the end of many X-Files episodes. And Scully is there, as is Skinner and the 3 lone gunmen. And he gives a nice little rendition of the end of The Wizard of Oz, where he says, you were there, and you were there, and you were there. And they all leave, and he says, Scully, you saved the world. She's like, yeah, you're right, I did, I saved the world. And she's going to leave. And he says, hey, Scully? And she says, yes. And he looks straight at her and he says, in all earnestness, I love you. And she goes, oh, brother? Oh, brother? Like, what the hell? Oh, brother? Anyway, and then she walks out. And he goes to put his little cheek down on the pillow, and it hurts. And he goes. And that's the end of the episode. Squee.
I made this. No, really, I did.